interpretation of the adage that there's no permanent friendship, no permanent enmity?
It's always about competition of ideas. Even while you are competing, you're not enemies. You just have different perspective about what the country should be and look like. Right now, these other gentlemen in the other political parties are my opponents. But once the election is over, they're no longer my opponents. Right. They were not my opponents before. Yes. They're only my opponents now. What are we competing on? Ideas. So I love the country. I believe that many of them love the country. But I have the best ideas, so I push those ideas. And if my ideas come to pass, they will wish me success. If their own ideas come to pass, I should wish them success. So the wrangling, I think they should minimize it.
Okay, Doctor. Internal wranglings within political parties, it seems to have come to stay with us. We're becoming like a culture. What's your take?
I think the Nigerian situation is a very peculiar one. When we consider, that there are plethora of interests when it has to do with elected positions, and everybody just struggling, to get to that point. And so, because there are so many interests, sometimes it clashes. I think that gives rise to all these kind of squabbles. But like he said, it is not a normal thing to happen. In an ideal situation, in an ideal society, where things, people, bring out their ideas, competition of ideas, issue-based campaign and all those things, there will be no need and there will be no reason for that. But for now, we are grappling with it. It's either because our democracy is still, on the very young stage or whatever, but I think one day we will be getting over it.
Okay, we'll be getting over it. How optimistic are you? Because 2020, is it after 2023? What's your benchmark?
Yeah, I think one thing that has been going for this country is their ability to reconcile. This country is reconciliatory on their own, so it's also the political parties. But just like in PDP, we have been hearing about, strong crisis, that has been, kind of trying to cripple the party. But that one is understandable because they decided to move away, from what used to obtain before. This is a party that relies on zoning. Let us rotate this power between the South and the North. And then they agreed, even though some people say it's written, some people say it's not written, but whether written or not, they've agreed that they have to be rotating this power. And then along the line, while the game was on, you start changing the goalposts, you start changing the rules. So you understand that it's going to, bring about crisis. Okay, for instance, from 1999, when President Olusegun Obasanjo came in, the party chairman came from the North, the president came from the South. Now, when Olusegun Obasanjo served out his 8th term, it rotated. Yar'Adua took over as president, and a Southern man took over as chairman of the party. We had plethora of them, Okwesileze, we had the other one and all that, So they essentially came from the South. Now, what I'm saying is that now that they have changed the rule, some people have come to talk about justice, equity, and fairness. And they say there's no way you can change that. Okay, let me even give you an example on PDP.
Okay, sorry, Doctor, before we go into that, I want us to lay a foundation, by not going specifics yet. He has managed political parties, and today, by providence, is a candidate of a major political party, and he has seen it all as a lawyer and a politician. What are those factors, generally speaking, what are those factors that give rise to or encourage internal bickerings in political parties in Nigeria?
Well, what I can say, and I want to make it short about it, I can't comment on other people's parties. I'm the leader of my party. But what I can say is that motivation, what brings you into politics, will determine what you consider to be important. If you are coming to politics to serve, opportunity to serve is a privilege. And if a party is democratic, decisions which don't favor you, if they are democratically derived, you know that you have a case next time. It's just that the majority is against you at this, your point of view at this time. So what I think is that Nigerian people also should look beyond these political parties that have all this bickering, because the bickering or whatever is supposed to be internal to the political party. It should not consume all the airtime, consume the energy of the rest of the society. If you have 18 possible servants, you give your work to the one that is most diligent, not the one that is bickering. So it is the people of Nigeria, I think, will resolve it eventually. So when political parties realize that when you are supposed to be competing on ideas, discussing how to resolve the problem of the people, giving accountability to the people, and showing that you are not there for yourself, but there for the public. If you fail to do any of that, the public will leave you and your bickering and move to another political party. So I'm always advising the press, the public, that since you have many political parties now, if you find any of them that is not serious-minded, that is consumed by its own internal contradictions, that they are not able to concentrate on telling you what they want to do for you, show accountability for the opportunities you've given to them to serve. If Nigerian people punish that by moving away from such political party, the bickering will disappear. But it looks like the drama is happening inside the political party. The people involved tend to be people well known to the media. They also have friends in the media and also people who speak for them. So they externalize that their internal problem to the public, and then the public gets consumed by it, whereas there are so many political parties working day and night, trying to find solutions, doing seminars that don't get covered, doing street action that don't get covered, mobilizing talent and discussing issues. So I think that is the approach. When I came to leadership in a political party, that's the approach we used. We just realized that we're not the only political party, and whatever internal competition we have among ourselves is just our own personal problem. The public wants to know, as a corporate entity, as a constitutional body, because political parties are a creation of the Constitution. So whether you like it or not, you must, to access any power in Nigeria, any elective office, you must go to a political party. And by law, INEC only recognizes political parties. So this is a very serious leadership recruitment institution, and it's owned by the public. Any person in Nigeria can join it. So if we have that sense of responsibility, you will not, whether you like someone or you don't like someone, you will know that you belong to an institution that the Constitution uses to recruit leadership. The reason why we have 18 presidential candidates today is just because we have 18 parties. If we had 10 parties, we'll have 10. So the parties are important, and once they know that, it's not the personal property of one person, it's not one person who holds one dominance. Once we know that, there will be no much bickering. Those who don't know it are the ones who are bickering, and the people are supposed to be the arbiter to ensure that you don't join them in the bickering. When I go out and people ask me about the crisis of one party, I ask them, are you a member of the party? Why is it your business? There are other political parties you can choose from. That's right. You should move on and leave them alone.
So you have said that in your party you don't have aggrieved members, meaning that since you emerged as the presidential candidate of your party, they are working with you, in unity to achieve success, to get your goal achieved. And do you, like other parties, some other parties, constitution that determine or that rotates where they choose their aspirant from, does the SDP have such in your constitution? As the leader of the party, does your constitution have such?
In our case has gone to Supreme Court in the past to interpret, because there was a time in our constitution the zoning was put inside, and Professor Jerry Ghana took the matter to the Supreme Court, and it was interpreted by the Supreme Court that it's supposed to be a gentleman agreement. You can decide to rotate or whatever you want to do, a position, but you cannot enforce it by law. You can't go to court and say, this person is from Ondo State, you should not contest again. No. But the important thing it's not as you don't have members who are aggrieved.
Okay.
You don't. It's that you know the reason why you are here. So it's just like I'm talking to you now, there may be one or two questions you will ask me that I'm aggrieved. My colleague's first question, I may be aggrieved. But I know that we're in media. We are here by privilege. We're not the only Nigerians. And we are serving the public. So we may leave the set, and I call him aside and say, I don't like that your question.
Exactly.
Right.
So you have to have a sense of responsibility.
Yes.
Both of you are smiling now. It doesn't mean that you are sharing lunch after the event, after this.
Right.
So having a sense of responsibility is what some lack. They have a sense of entitlement instead. And especially in an election year, where you know that the country is going through crisis, there are floodings all over, from Kogi all the way to Kano to Yobe to places.
Yes.
There are people dying in hospitals because there's no medical care. You also have most of our young people at home because the government and ASU have this issue, and government is wrong, ASU is right, but government is oppressing ASU, so we are dragging the issue. There are still 80% of our crude oil as we speak now. The NNPC is claiming to have discovered a new pipeline of several kilometers where they are stealing oil worth billions of dollars. When you have all of these issues, there's a limit to which you can be doing bickering. Your problems pale into insignificance compared to the problem that the country is facing. And if you are coming for leadership, I'll give an example of bickering. When we came for the peace accord a few days ago, at the International Conference Center, the political parties' names were written in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So Al Mustafa of AA is supposed to sit first, followed by Chowore of AAC, then ADC, Kachiku supposed to sit next, and then Shetima, who is representing APC, will sit next. But then, of course, my party is S, so I sit at the back. Labour, you sit in the middle. But when I discovered that all of them were rushing to the front. So the deity of Labour ran to go and sit in the seat that belongs to Showore, belongs to Kachiku. Kwankwaso went to sit on the seat that belongs to Mustafa.
White people that should be last.
Yes.
Right.
So when you look at it, and then those gentlemen felt personally insulted and said they were going to walk out. So we started discussing, and we came to the conclusion that walk out for what? This is a national event. These people sitting in front are crassly irresponsible people.
Right.
So are you going to go and join them to be irresponsible? And then so the news that will have come out of that will have been presidential candidates walk out of peace accord. But we know that the personal annoyance that you have, but that nonsense that they have done, is not enough for a person operating at presidential level. It's not enough to show to the public. But it's not as if that injustice will not be. I'm talking about it now, for example. But you keep talking about it. And eventually, when it was time to come and sign, the organizers stuck to their rule and called the party according to the alphabetical order. So those artificial big men who went to sit in front still had to follow the. So it is that kind of sense that you bring into leadership, because there's no organization you can form that there will be no disagreement, either on principle, on personality, on benefits, and all of that. But you must have an organizing philosophy that tells you, why is this organization set up? Why is the public interested? The public is interested because this organization is set up to advance our democracy and to form government for us, so that the aggregate of all the talent we have in the country, the best of them can compete. And when they compete, the public will now choose one of them. So there's nothing about inheritance, about entitlement, or anything like that. So a political party that does not obey its own formula, internal formula, you can know that they are not responsible.
Right.
So the public can just ignore them and realize that these people don't have a sense of responsibility. So these people, they will not honor agreement with ASU. They will not honor budget if they sign it. They will not honor any law they sign, because they are coming with the habit of dishonor already. But it's not as if the whole country will be consumed by their problem. You get the point I'm making. The public will just observe them and say, if they are this unfair to one another inside their own party, then we cannot, and given the fact that the country is a diverse country, these parties, we should avoid them because they might bring crisis to the country. For example, if I go now to where I come from in Nigeria and say that something that I'm entitled to in my own political party has been denied me by people of the other side in my political party, I'm externalizing that problem to my people and their people. And then so what should have been resolved internally becomes something that can create a tension.
Yeah.
And if you go to Rwanda, all these places, you will see that the crisis that they had, the same thing with Cote d'Ivoire, and the same thing with Kenya in the past, the problem they have arises from internal management of this rotation, power, fairness, and process. And in Africa, we need to be careful about that. That's why responsible leadership is required. And I believe that any political party, I can say this without fear of contradiction, that any political party that has internal bickering, to the extent that the public is inundated with it, has a thorough lack of responsible leadership.
Dr. Onoha was earlier telling us, before I put you on hold,
Right.
he took us down memory lane from the Obasanjo
Yeah, I think now
era.
is the right time for
Yes,
you.
it's the right time for
Yes.
I think it's a matter of semantics. He said something that caught my attention. He said all these bickerings, when you're coming into a political party or whatever, the motivation is key. And you can agree with me. Some people come into these organizations, for what they can grab and all that. So the interest is what tantamount to the kind of desperation that manifests at the end of the day. And that is what we are saying today. And he has spoken very well. You understand, parties that cannot handle their internal problems are liable to, lose out in the contest. But the truth be said, that anything you want to move forward must be built on equity, justice, and fairness. When he said Professor Ghana went to court to interpret the zoning, and they told him this could be at the level of gentleman agreement. Good, fine. If the gentlemen came together and said, okay, South will take this and North will take this, then we should be able to let that happen. You understand? Now, the justification of Wike-led group antagonizing, the presidential candidate, and even the withdrawing from the their presidential campaign council, shows that the party is in chaos. There's trouble, there's problem, and they cannot handle it. If they could not handle it, even to the point of inaugurating the PCC, I think they have a problem they can't solve, and they can't solve Nigerian problem. You understand? It's just the same thing. He's just saying it all. Now, but I wanted to highlight the way it came, all the way from 1999 to the present time, when the Southern governor said, since the power has been 8 years in the North, we want it to come to the South. It's a gentleman agreement, and they ought to obey. But some people felt we're so powerful, or we cannot wait for another 8 years. If in the next 8 years we are still alive, we may not be strong enough to contest. Okay, let me just do this one. Let it be a turn next time. You understand? Yes. So the rules of the game was changed automatically. And so people say, okay, we can swallow the act that you have changed the zoning. Now, let us also continue the way we were. The chairman will come now from the South, since you have taken the presidential slot. They say, no, let it also remain in the North. This is a double jeopardy. And the other group felt, no, we can. And so the bickering will continue. And like he said, what will Nigerians do in the face of this? Okay. We will continue to look at party bickering when there are a plethora of troubles in Nigeria to be faced, to handle, to manage, the poverty, the penury, the insecurity problem, the economic collapse, and all that. That are facing Nigeria. We will not allow the bickerings in political parties. That can't you see, a party that's bickering like that doesn't have a plan for the country. And if they can handle such a small crisis, they can also handle our own internal or national problems. That's what I also think.
Some people argue that the reason why there is strong focus on some of these parties. They have become like a behemoth or leviathan in nature. Are they correct?
That's big. The size of the party.
Yes. They're everywhere. Structures everywhere. They've been there for ages. Like PDP, one of the major opposition parties.
As far as I'm concerned, this republic started in 1999, and in some other countries like the US, some parties have been there for 200 years and above, and they're still, they are expanding. The ANC in South Africa is such a large party. I know they have their own small issues, but they have been able to handle it. Inability to handle it, and you're blaming the fact that the party has grown so large, or that it's been there for some time, will not suffice here. Because especially in this country now, you can see what is happening. The people are kind of trying to abhor the old brigade. They say, no, we can't continue the way things were being done. We've been here in a country that is endowed with natural and human resources, has not been managed properly. There's poverty, there's penury, there's hopelessness, and even the worst aspect of it now is the brain drain that has accompanied this. I can assure you that when ASO come back, you will not have up to 30% of the lecturers returning, because I see on daily basis migration to Europe and America to go and settle there. Why? Because there's crisis. You understand? Now, we are also looking at a leading political party that cannot solve, because the responsibility means responding to diverse, issues, in an appropriate way, and a providing solution to that. But you can see the party, the governing party, cannot take responsibility. A problem as small as ASO strike has lingered for 7 months. One lecturer from Abuja last week called me and said a university in the north has lost 17 lecturers because of this strike. You understand? And we've had a lot of students who have been killed, used for rituals. If they were in school, these things would not come. So what we are looking at now, the masses are trying to look at all those parties that were not that large before, to kind of find out the one that can help bring out this country from the doldrum, because we are in a precipice. If nothing is done now, we're sitting on the keg of gunpowder that will explode any moment from now. And I think this is a chance for Nigeria to do that. If it exceeds 2023, then we might have ourselves to blame.
Okay, Prince Adebayo, you are a presidential candidate, and you are aware that some political parties have not been able to constitute their campaign councils. I don't want you to talk about them, like you said, but have you constituted your campaign council?
Yeah, we have a different approach. We have a campaign council, is standard from time. Our system of operation is to get away from the past. What you will understand is that the campaign council system that they use is usually the beginning of dividing the spoils.
Okay.
Yes, so that's to them.
I like that.
So it's not about doing the work. What we decided to do on our own is to realize that politics is local, and we have 176,180 polling units, and with the most important campaign council for us is the polling unit committee. Then leaders go to their zone where they have credibility.
Okay.
We don't want a campaign council where we take a big man from Bayelsa, hire a plane and carry all of them to go and campaign in Sokoto, where it doesn't speak Hausa. It has no credibility with the community there. We thought that it's better for us to consider our campaign councils at local unit level, then deploy leaders where they have credibility. If you have been a good school principal in this community before, they know you are honest, they respect you, you coordinate for us there. So you are talking, and then you'll be a surrogate to the president, the president candidate whom they may not know in that community. But they see you, they know that you are a man of honor and integrity. There's nothing in the world that will make you to bring a stranger to this our community who doesn't mean well for us. So we're operating at that level. Our campaign council is just normal standard. National chairman is the head of it, national secretary, other leaders in the party, any other person like Shefalai, Professor Deniron, any other person who has been national chairman before, Dr. Gunloye, all of them come into it. So everybody, all former aspirants are automatically members, all governorship candidates and all of that. So it's a routine thing, but it's not something that that leads to fighting over. And we're not fighting over big budgets, because the way we fund our party is that you cannot be a member of the executive except to pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
So our executive don't collect money. So if when we're doing our national convention, if you remove somebody's name as the delegate, you have only removed expense from the person's life, because the delegates will pay his way to the convention. Right. The delegate will find where to sleep. Yeah. Many of the delegates slept in my compound. Some slept in other people's compound. In fact, the state chairman of our party ran into trouble because his delegates were sleeping outside in the compound, and somebody knew him and gave him a hotel room, and he went to sleep there, and they nearly wanted to remove him. How can your members be sleeping here and you went to sleep in one room? So it is the attitude. So if you call any of the members of our campaign council now and say, we remove you from campaign council, they will say, thank God. So because they are the one raising the fund, they are the one doing it. So our campaign council is not something that you have a food fight over.
Well, gentlemen, we are going on a short break, but when we come back, Dr. Onoha will be taking us through the squabble within the ruling All Progressives Congress, because they have huge internal bickerings. And then we'll also, you can't have a presidential candidate on set in this kind of interview without, it will be a disservice not to let him tell Nigerians the package he has for them, that is manifesto. But that will be after the short break. Please stay.
All right, you know that political parties in Nigeria, major political parties in Nigeria are fighting themselves. Yeah, APC is having their own fair share of the fight. Likewise, PDP fighting because of Wike and all that, I should resign, and a whole lot of other things. Now, we are in the street to get the views of the people. Is it what major political parties should be doing at the moment, instead of finding a way to be talking about how to solve Nigerian problems? They are fighting themselves. Is it what they should be doing at the moment? That's why we are on the streets. My name is Ekene Ezebue, and right here on the streets, we want to get the views of the people. Follow me, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, for this our country where we doing now, we need strong person that can rule us in this country. Not the one where go come as hungry won't kill us now. Strong go day by day. See, one of my sister now, I kill food they come pack am because of food where you know they find where the children go chop. Even in a road that they manage like shop now don't cost. Everything don't cost. Food don't cost. Money no there, we need leader. Where things go easy for us. Not the one where you know work, you dey house, you dey collect salary. We need a leader where go rule Nigeria, where you must attend office before you go collect salary. Not the one where Jackie dey work, Babu dey shop.
Oya, what you want make the political parties they do now, instead of to they fight themselves?
May they not fight themselves, may they settle down. Bring us good leader that can lead our country, where we no want hungry again and sufferness again, and we want God to intervene in their midst so that peace go there for our country. We no get another country to go. See the innocent blood they throw away. May they help our country. This sufferness too much for us.
Thank you very much. This has already shows the level of insensitiveness in the so-called leaders we are parading now in Nigeria. A situation whereby Nigerians are clamoring for issue that is directly affecting them, ranging from issue of insecurity, economy, and education. And those who are people are even relying hope upon, because no matter how either we like it or not, it has become that we're going to select our leader through election. And for the fact that these are the people who are going to put hope upon, that one of them must emerge. Now, if they do not do something that is very expected, and the needful is not even being seen, then we cannot be thinking that we are going to see more woe than what we are seeing now. But for Almighty God, we continue to pray that we have it as expected in a good manner.
So the whole problem they are having, what are you advising them to be doing at the moment, instead of all the in-house problem political parties are having?
It has already shows that they are doing whatever they are doing and clamoring for is for egocentrics. It's not for the benefit and interest of the citizens of the country. Because if they are taking into consideration that the issues of the nation concerns them, they are not supposed to be engaging individualistic ego that it has nothing to do with the developmental issues that Nigerians are clamoring for. Therefore, I think it's better for them to think inward to see what they can do to reposition the country by synergizing effort without doing segregations and fighting each other that has no benefit to the ordinary citizens in the state.
They should work together. They should just work together. Each party now, because I will not say the party I'm supporting, but we should work together. For example, the PDP should settle themselves internally and work together. Same with the APC. And I feel Labour Party, they are doing well for themselves. So at least let's have it going like that. Because if they are giving us this kind of vibe internally, what will happen if we give the country to them? We will not expect so much from them. So I believe they should work together and just do the right thing, that's all.
Thank you very much.
They should think how students will resume in the school. That's my own point.
One more thing. What do you think they should be doing at the moment to solve their problem, so that they can think of how to solve Nigerian problem as well?
May they enjoy themselves, sit together and think. They're in unity so that they will solve our problem in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think they should go back and sit back and look at the problems they've had. They look the potholes they've created for Nigeria so far. Because for now, I'm seeing the LP candidate, that is Mr. Peter Obi. I think that's the most valid and potent candidate. So
you are campaigning for him right now?
It's not a matter of campaigning. I've assessed all of them.
God willingly, if they can come up together with for the house, like APC is having the aspirant of not seen him up to now. The PDP were having crisis with the Wike. Wike said you should resign and the rest. It's a Labour Party, I don't know much more about them. But the other smaller parties, the NMPP, the AD and so on and so forth.
Yeah, ADCs, they have their,
yes,
they have their own.
Yes, although I don't know their own problem. But my prayer is that each political party, if they can come up with what will be best for us, the Nigerians, the populace, it will be okay for us. And how will they come about it? They know it. We all know what we are suffering from. APC know what we are suffering from. PDP know what we are suffering from. Labour Party know what we are suffering from. If God willing, if I am to even decide anything, why not all of them will come together, uniform, as in they are aggrieved members of APC, PDP, Labour or ADC. If they have common fronts, maybe this is what is explaining us, we'll see that this one cannot do for us, this cannot present. Why not the agreed members come together and form alliance and join a very strong household and deliver for us and hopefully work for Nigeria.
All right, that's going to be the size of our package on this week's edition of What is Happening in the Street, the Vox Pop in the Streets. What is going on in the street actually matters, because that's where you get the views of the people. Yeah, actually, they are the electorates. They are the people that are placing the leaders at the pedestal. They are performing. So right now, we are done for this week. Until I come your way next week, my name is Sidi Menzekene. Remain blessed.
You're welcome back to Daybreak Africa. Thanks for being there. We still have with us Prince Adewale Adebayo, the presidential flag bearer of the SDP. Thanks for being with us, sir.
It's a pleasure.
And Dr. Fresh Onoha is still here in the studio with us. Moving on, we just heard different opinions from the streets of the wranglings among political parties and the forthcoming elections. Moving on, we want to go straight to the APC, the crisis they've been having, that they had formed a campaign council, and it was put on hold because of interest, you would say. So, Dr. Ono, I would like you to take us through the crisis going on with the APC.
APC is the ruling party.
Yes.
And like Prince said, motivations matter a lot. And from our own perspective in Nigeria, when you get to the top, you have the opportunity to loot whatever you want to loot. And then there are some people that come with a sense of entitlement. Emiloko, you understand? This belongs to me, it's my turn, and it's my time. Without considering whether they are fit to run or not. But to start with, the APC primaries were highly dollarized. It was for the highest bidder. They didn't hide this. It was open. People were being corrupted openly, giving dollars and all that, you understand? But what is giving them problem is that eventually the person that emerged, the presidential candidate of APC, you cannot ascertain his health condition. You cannot ascertain a lot of things about them. People have queried about his state of origin. People have queried about the authenticity of his certificate. People have queried about so many things about him that are like mirage. And the younger ones who felt they should have taken this slot and then make a very good presentation or representation for APC were denied because they didn't have that kind of bunch of dollars to spend. Right now, there's a court process going on because I learned that a group of people took APC to court. And one of the presidential candidates, Meka Nwajuba, has joined in that suit, which means the crisis, they've not even determined who is now the flag bearer. Because according to them, the case there is so enormous. When I was showed the what do you call it? I'm not a lawyer. The case, that served on the face of the newspaper, it was 24 pages. I counted it. I said, wow.
Oh, sorry, and did you say they've not determined the flag bearer? But we know that.
Yeah, because it's in the court. You cannot, we cannot prejudice this. We have to wait until the court say, okay, it is this man. Finally, you understand. Now, the problem is, look at the campaign council that was constituted. The chairman was claiming that the presidential candidate did not carry them along. All their recommendations, were ignored, and then they just went ahead and then put the names that they wanted to have, you understand. So they are not in sync, in whatever they are doing in that party. It's been chaotic. Of course, now we have always known that APC has not been together. It reflected on the leadership they have provided to this country in the last 7 years, whereby, nothing, we can't put our finger on any indices of development and say this is actually making a progress. It has moved from 2% to 3% because this leadership is here. So the APC have that issue. I think it reflected directly on the economy, if no other thing. When they come to us and tell us that the oil is being stolen, I've told whoever wants to care that it is the leadership that is stealing the oil, that we don't have the capacity to steal. We can't even bring in a vessel without being given a clearance, to enter into the territorial waters. And so what we are saying is that what is happening in APC now is a reflection of what has been going on in the last 7 years. Prince said, if these crises are going on and they cannot manage simple crises, can they manage our economy? Can they manage the insecurity?
Yeah, but at the same time, they will tell you that the crisis did not originate from their regime, that it's been there over the years.
Let me tell you something. By the time George Bush II was leaving power, he had fought a second Gulf War and left plethora of problems, including economic wahala. And then when, Obama came in, he said, I can handle this problem. And the moment they gave him the mandate to lead that country, he never for one day blamed the Bush administration for any failure. The problem the APC have is that they continue to trade blame because they didn't understand what they came to do. They came to solve problems, not to trade blames. Are you understanding it? So as they continue to trade blame, the West time, the West energy, PDP had come and gone. The people say, okay, we don't like you, you didn't do well, go. We want these people, they have capacity, they have capability, they have integrity, they have character, we are entrusting this into their hands. And then you came back and you're blaming the people that have left the saddle. It means you really don't understand what you came to do. That's what it means.
Now, Prince Adewale, you seem to be having a smooth sail, enjoying political conviviality within your political structure. Now, we have spoken about internal crisis in other political parties. How is it an advantage to you?
Well, it's not an advantage in the sense that you cannot, it's supposed to be a competition of ideas. And it's like saying your neighbor is having a fight with his wife. It's an advantage of your own marriage because your own marriage is peaceful. It's not an advantage, you know, because apart from this crisis that they have, they even have bigger problems with Nigerian people. And one of the theories in my head, or hypothesis, is that some of them are even escalating this crisis to occupy time, so that you won't have time to question them.
Right, like a strategy.
Yeah, because if any issue is based on debate, on clarity, on accountability, on a well-laid manifesto, on giving account for your past performance or lack of it in government, on your qualification, on questioning, on interrogating your integrity as a person, they will have no answer. Because like many of the issues that are normal in the country, for presidential candidates to accept, we've thrown them out. For example, Social and Economic Rights Project, SERA, came up with the idea that we as presidential candidates should declare our assets. I accepted immediately. Showore accepted immediately. That's where it ended. Nobody's interested. So this is what we should have been discussing. So yesterday, Punch called me and was asking me about whether I'll be willing to participate in a medical examination where we release records for our fitness. I said, I don't mind. Not that if someone has a condition, he cannot be a president. After all, FDR, Frederick Delano Roosevelt, was on a wheelchair.
Right.
And people elected him. But he wasn't hiding and taking pictures from his chest up to deceive the public. So there is no way you will do medical checks that you won't discover that you have one or two conditions.
Right.
But the public will know what they are buying. I'm not saying, so I agree that you can do it for the accountability. Now, if you served in government before, you are supposed to be interrogated on your record. If you have expressed some views in the past, we are supposed to interrogate you. Do you still believe in those views? Or have you changed your views, and why? If we have problems in the country, we need to ask you whether you know of the existence of these problems, so that you don't get in and say, I didn't know.
You're not aware.
So those are the things which I think will be an advantage for me, because their bickering doesn't help me, doesn't help the country. Because people need to know what stuff they are made of. And the lesser the noise, the clearer the discussion, the better for me. Because it's clear that the Social Democratic Party has come to say farewell to poverty and insecurity. And we have programs and plans. And we have our manifesto of the political party is the reason why I joined. People always ask me, when am I going to publish my manifesto? And I always tell Nigerians, a candidate doesn't publish a manifesto.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yes, a manifesto is a common thing. It's a commodity product of a political party. So before I joined the Social Democratic Party, I looked at the manifestos of all the other political parties because they were all associated with me, PRP, ADC, all of them. I'm very close to all of them. And then I realized, okay, the Social Democratic Party has the best manifesto. It can be improved upon, but it answers all Nigeria's issues for the next 50 years. So maybe the next generation will improve on it. Then you will now look at programs and plans that you can draw out of the manifesto, guided by Chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, because that one mandates what government should do. So you don't have an opinion as to whether you are going to do it or not, because when you are even taking the oath of office as president, you take an oath of office to abide by the Constitution. But that's not enough. You also particularize and say you will observe and enforce the provisions of fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy. Based on that alone, every president who has served since 1999 to date should have been impeached because they breached that provision. Because if you follow that provision, we'll have stable government. Even if the person you elect is not talented, if he's guided by that, it's like road traffic. You may not be a fantastic driver. Not everybody is a Michael Schumacher who can be a race car driver. But if you follow the highway code, you will reduce accident by 99%. So the highway code of government, of governance in Nigeria, is Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution. Both the journalists, the media people, political party, social groups, all of them fail to study it well. That's why they cannot hold a government accountable. You don't have to talk to a government about anything. When President Buhari was going around saying that he was coming to fight corruption, that is not an achievement. Because Chapter 2 of the Constitution mandates every person in government to be committed to the abolition of corruption. So it's not something that should differentiate you from another person. Yes, so it's like every Nigerian say, I promise to hold the green passport. The green passport is common to all of us. So when you go to that Chapter 2, you will see that it states that before the government does anything, it must abolish poverty. So it must spend on food, it must spend on education, it must spend on health, it must spend on housing. It must guarantee full employment for Nigerians. It must give equal opportunities to Nigerians, including all this noise they're making inside their political party with respect to whether it's my turn or it's not my turn, is in that Chapter 2. That the government of Nigeria must not be constituted in such a way that power is concentrated in a section, in a group. So even if you form association of friends, as they are formed, and you are rotating from your friend to your friend to your friend, it's not constitutional. Even when you are drawing up a budget and you are doing road construction, you must not give majority of the road construction to one company. It's unconstitutional. You cannot do a road from Abuja to Sokoto and give all the sections to one company. You must involve the local people in those areas into part of the job. So it is so written. It's such an egalitarian constitutional framework. So that is what we are coming to implement. And when you question people along this line, then they will have to particularize their understanding of these issues. So if I'm going to abolish poverty, I know that I need to create 30 million jobs. So you need to ask me, how are you going to create 30 million jobs, given how much is reported in the budget? Now in this budget, more than half of it is supposed to be borrowed. So how are you going to do it? Where is the funding coming from? Are you going to increase the minimum wage? If you do, how are you going to pay for it? And if you do, how do you manage inflation? So those are the questions that we in the Social Democratic Party have found answers to. So we are confident. We are like students who have studied very well and they are waiting for the exam paper to be issued. But the one who has been jumping fence and running up and down, who is not, it will start to raise issues. And if the public, as facilitated by the media, allows noise to dominate this campaign season and bickering and all of that nonsense, three things I want people to know. Some of these people who are bickering in front of the press, They go home and have dinner with one another at night. When they are stuck in the airport,
that's right.
They use each other's private jet to carry each other. They do this bickering to jostle for position. And shortly before the election is held, or immediately after, once one person wins or the other, they just give each other congratulatory hugs and then they continue to share the money. So it is important for the media to know that the real bickering that is real is between the political class that has taken care of itself for the past 23 years and vast majority of Nigerians that have been left in the lurch, where none of the problems facing any of the states in Nigeria, not one state, has managed to kick one problem permanently. You cannot say 1999, May 29, in Anambra State, they have 55 problems. The governors who have been there between now have kicked one permanently. That, oh, if you go to that state, they don't have it anymore, not one. You can't say that for those states where I come from, you can't say for any other state. No local government has solved one problem permanently. And the federal government itself hasn't that record. So what we now need, in my view, is a departure. And that departure is for the sake of the future. Because new problems are coming. Because as time passes, the world changes, a new problem will come. And if you're accumulating the old problem that you have, then you are not going to be able to face and deal with the new problem. So that's the Social Democratic Party in conclusion, is that allow us to come to power and help remove two things: poverty and insecurity. After that, the next generation will build on development and growth, increase national income, increase GDP. But until you deal with extreme poverty and insecurity, which we have the resources to deal with now, that we're diverting into private pockets and white elephant projects.
Well, viewers, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue. Please stay with us.
Body bang, bang, your body bang, your 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 body bang, bang, your body bang. Fire, fire, fire. And I give us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl, when you take a selfie. When you take a photo, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend it low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie Down Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Oga, face your camera now. Shh. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Body bang, bang, your body bang, your 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 body bang, bang, your body bang. Fire, fire, fire. And I give us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl, when you take a selfie, when you take a photo, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie Down Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Oga, face your camera now. Shh. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Carolina, you bad.
Hurry up.
I know say you know. Your body bang, bang, your body bang, 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 your body bang, bang, your body bang. And I get what I say. When you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low. I'm a girl when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie Down to Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Oga, face your camera now. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Carolina, you bada.
Hurry up.
Holla. I know say you know. Your body bang, 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 your body bang. And I get what I say. When you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low. I'm a girl when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at
Hello and thanks for joining us on the AM News this morning on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed his happiness and satisfaction and that of the entire nation with the military as well as other security agencies on the safe release of the remaining 23 kidnapped train passengers held in captivity by Boko Haram terrorists. The president, who reacted through his spokesman Gabashewu on Wednesday night, said the news of the safe release of the hostages in line with its earlier directive was very pleasing to him. He said the nation owed the military and all other security and intelligence agencies a debt of gratitude for the successful conduct of the operation leading to the release of the hostages, insisting these agencies had shown outstanding capabilities over the period that the whole world will not fail to take note of. The Senate on Wednesday confirmed the nomination of 19 resident electoral commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. This followed the consideration of the report of its Committee on Electoral Matters. The residents are Ibrahim Abdullahi from Adamawa, Obo Efanang Cross River, Umar Ibrahim Taraba, Agboke Olaleke Ogun State, Samuel Egu Kogi State, Oyeka Ugochi Imo, Muhammad Bashir Sokoto, Ayobami Salami Oyo, Sago Abdul Kassina, Queen Elizabeth Agu Ebonyi, and Agudu Teso from Benue, among others. The Academic Staff Union of Secondary School, ASUS, Kaduna State chapter on Wednesday claimed bandits killed over 10 teachers and kidnapped more than 50 other teachers across the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State, from January 2022 till date. The union pledged with Governor Nasir El-Rufai to use every means possible to rescue the teachers and others in the kidnapped captivity. ASUS chairman Ishaya Dauda made the disclosure at a briefing as part of activities to commemorate the 2022 International World Teachers' Day with the theme, "The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers." It said, among others, more than 10 secondary school teachers were killed and over 50 others adopted from January 2022 till date in Kaduna, and the adopted teachers are still in captivity. And that's the AM News on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. Enjoy the rest of your program, and thank you for watching.
your body bang it, your body bang it, bang your body bang it, your body bang it, bang your body bang it, your body bang it, bang your body bang it, your body bang it, bang your body bang it, your body bang it, bang your body bang it. Fire. And I give us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl when you take a selfie.
Stand by, Prince.
You're welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. It's still the Daybreak Africa show. I have a question for you, sir, Prince Adewale, on deficit financing in Nigeria, where we borrow so much, or up to 50% to service our debts. So if or when, or if you become the president, if you are elected, how do you intend to handle this? Do you intend to continue borrowing, or what do you intend to do on that?
It will be a disaster and a calamity to continue such nonsense. Mm-hmm. You see, what you have to know why they are doing it. They are doing it because the government as a whole, if you ask any person who is their chief economist, they don't know economics. Understandably, President Buhari doesn't know economics. The vice president doesn't know anything close to economics. And they have a governor of Central Bank who's not an economist. Now, who doesn't know public finance? The Minister of Education, of Finance doesn't know economics. So there's no economic advisor. This is what you can't do. There are two legs to handle this matter. There is the fiscal leg and there's the monetary leg. The fiscal leg means that income and expenditure of government must be balanced. In economy is the most ideal situation to find yourself is a balanced budget. You rake in 1 trillion, you spend 1 trillion. Maybe the econometrics of how you share that money and the priorities that you lay to different emphasis. Because spending is how government tells you its emphasis and value. Whatever is more important to the government, they set to first. So they have failed at the fiscal level. Why? Because majority of the revenue that they're supposed to capture, they're not capturing the revenue. You know, I blew the whistle, first to blow the whistle that government is allowing 80% of the crude oil in the country to be stolen. And I was talking about it every week for 6 months. No media want to pick it up. The government people eventually came out and said, yeah, I was wrong. It's only 75%. Oh. Then the chief of naval staff said I was exaggerating because some other losses I was adding to it. But eventually when other politicians started talking about it, they didn't want to talk about who is stealing it. But they addressed the Nigerian Bar Association conference and I told them that it's the government stealing it. So it is enough for me, it's not enough for you to say Nigerian crude is being stolen. You have to know who is stealing it. You have to know that for some reason, best known to him, between him and God, President Buhari is the one stealing the crude. Because he's the Minister of Petroleum. He's the one who can stop it. He's been on that job before, in 1977, so he's not a stranger. But for some reasons that only he can answer to God, the National Assembly is not available to ask him the question. He has allowed 80% of the crude to be stolen. And they're not being stolen in wheelbarrows. They're being stolen in ships. And these ships have owners.
Right.
These ships enter Nigeria with, they even send radio where they want to enter. They are insured. You see, these are our stolen crude that is being stolen. It's insured. So when a thief insures a stolen good, they are not hiding it. The tank farms where they are taking them to, I know many of them. The companies involved, I know many of them, but I don't want to give you expo. No, I don't want to give you. I can answer, but I can't use your medium.
Yeah, right. That's right.
To say it, I have to be responsible. So I can't abuse the platform you give to me. But when I'm on a podium, talking directly, I will tell you. So, 80% of your crude is gone. So that money that's supposed to come in. So on average, by last calculation that I made, we are losing about $4 billion And by our official exchange rate, we are losing about close to 2 trillion that we are losing.
Okay.
So if you look at the entire budget that they have now is about 19 trillion, it's up to 20 trillion. So they are losing more than that just by not taking care of the crude sales. Secondly, they are losing a lot of revenue from revenue collected internally. They also lose a lot of revenue collected internationally, including BASA and so many other things. So they are losing revenue deliberately. So, secondly, they are losing money from poor procurement. So their projects are overpriced. So what they should spend $1 billion on, they can spend 7. 3, they lose internal control of the little that they are able to collect. So you will see that Fashola will say, I couldn't complete Ibadan Road, I've not been able to complete or even start Badagry Road substantially, I couldn't do other roads, because in one of the roads, he was given 50 billion on paper. 50 billion to do the project. He released 200 million to him out of 50 billion. On the other one, he was not given any money at all. He had to borrow 7 billion from Islamic banking, Sukuk. But in that same government, the person who was supposed to release money to Fashola, Accountant General of the Federation, he himself was accused by the government of stealing 109 billion. So a government that doesn't have money to pay to do roads, where will give you infrastructure, will give you jobs and all of that, allow one person in one transaction, not all he has stolen, one transaction, and that person is not the only person there. So that shows to you on the fiscal side is they are a disaster. On the monetary side, the Central Bank of Nigeria is supposed to be what a wife is to a husband. When the husband is buying second bottle of beer, the wife will say, leave this beer parlor, follow me. You want to finish your salary? Yes. That is the job of the Central Bank. When you see that the government, either through populism, through lack of control, is overspending, it will slow down their spending by making other funds not available to them. So if they want to say they want to borrow money, it will say, okay, I'm not going to allow banks to issue treasury bill. So government will be forced to say, okay, maybe we're overspending. So they're not doing that. The job of the central bank is to control inflation so that the factor price will come down, cost of goods will come down. How do they do that? By money supply. They're not doing it. They also defend the value of the currency by managing the foreign exchange that we receive. They are making available to people in government. So by creating this dual exchange rate, people in government will make 30 million, 40 million profit, dollars, just by picking their phone and calling somebody in the central bank and say, so person is my friend, please release forest for them. Then those people will also come, sell the forest in the open market and become the billionaire. So there's no reason for you to go out and set up a factory with a view to making $2 million profit after 3 years. If you can hang around CBN governor and make 40 million in one release. Fourth component where they're losing money, which is even much more important, is that because they are not generating employment, they are not able to generate taxation to come in into the. So the government itself, the tax that they're supposed to collect, they're not able to collect. The fifth area, and I can list them out of 300, where if you have all the time, where they are, so where they are finding them. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to come in here and first capture your revenue, like I promised Nigerians, it will come to pass. The crude oil being stolen, just like we recover Abacha money, Abacha loot, I will recover all the Buhari crude that is stolen. So when we put all of that together and we govern the economy more responsibly, and the central bank does what it needs to do, we will be able to fund the budget, and we'll be able to deal with abolition of poverty by spending on food supply, education, health, housing, and infrastructure. Those are easy to do. And once we do them, within 2 years, you will see a turnaround in the economy. I don't think we'll have a problem kicking that. And if we deal with insecurity, which of course you know that insecurity is a tolerance on the part of the government determine the level of insecurity. If the government is not tolerant of insecurity,
please, sorry to cut you here. These questions we ask is a topic on its own. It's very, very vast and wide. And you have wide experience in it. As we wind down, in 30 seconds, please, because time is of essence. and sticking to the topic of our conversation today, which is internal wranglings and how it affects the campaigns that will soon be full blown, as well as the outcome of the 2023 general elections in 30 seconds, in spite of the wranglings that
they are running for. And then we should be concentrating on the parties that have been able to manage their internal issues wisely without disturbing the public. But we have a lot of problem without the one they are bringing to the table. So what we are looking for, people who will bring solution and not people who will bring more problems. Okay, thank you.
Well, viewers, I'm afraid that's the sense of our package today. And Elizabeth, you must agree with me that it's been incisive and quite revealing.
It has.
So we want to tell our viewers that we will be hosting other presidential candidates and in subsequent editions of these programs. This program, Daybreak Africa, on television Nigerian, because we are broadcasting beyond boundaries. On this note, I'd like to extend our thank you to Prince Adewale Adebayo. He is the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. He is also the proprietor of Kaftan Television, a lawyer that is licensed to practice outside the shores of Nigeria, including America. I don't know why I'm saying this. I want to say it's well earned.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you, my colleague, and thank you, Dr. Noha.
Dr. Noha.
Yes, God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Dr. Noha, thank you. Dr. Noha is a public commentator and a public intellectual. He's our regular guest on this program. Thank you.
Thank you, my colleague Lizzie. And then our presidential candidate will be looking forward to seeing you at Asperger in 2023.
Thank you.
Yes, for me here is enjoy the rest of your day.
From me, Macaulay Honashi, is bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.